Hello everyone, let's talk about one very important and interesting issue, that is President Trump just announced that he will hike up another 10% tariff upon all the goods imported from China. Okay, so the question is why has the Chinese side been very restrained in responding to Trump's hike in tariff? Okay, which is a fact. Let me first explain to you that in China, inside China, we've seen very little public response to the recent hike in Trump's tariff. Okay, very little. There's no high-level officials coming out and condemning President Trump. There are no huge public and media events criticizing Trump. Okay, instead, the Chinese government quietly announced, number one, they will file a complaint in the WTO against President Trump's increase in tariff. Number two, China announced tariffs upon a few selected goods, including agricultural goods, including beef and chicken. Okay, but overall, it's very restrained. Now, why is this? Why China is very restrained, especially in comparison with Canada and Mexico? Okay, the reason I think is very important. The reason is that the Chinese side is actually trying to work around Trump's tariff. Okay, let me explain to you. Okay, first of all, you have to keep in mind China's core interest, what we call core interests. That is the most important objectives of the policymakers in China. They are threefold. Okay, threefold objectives. Number one, to make sure the political regime in China is stable. Number two, to make sure the issue of Taiwan is properly resolved. Okay, what we call is unification of the nation. Okay, number three is to make sure the Chinese economy will be able to keep on upgrading, especially in high-tech industries. Okay, now vice versa, if you look at the U.S. core interests of President Trump, or rather the top three priorities of Trump. Okay, number one is immigration. He hates illegal immigrants. Number two is to reduce the deficit and the government debt. Now, Elon Musk has been saying many times that the U.S. economy is not sustainable because of a huge amount of deficit and debt. Number three, Trump really wants jobs to be coming back to the U.S., especially in the manufacturing sector, in Michigan, in Ohio, in Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, so on and so forth. So if you put these two things together, okay, there are actually relatively little overlap. What China wants really actually are not what Trump wants. Okay, this is actually good news, right? So the Chinese side fully understands what Trump wants. Okay, then the Chinese side also want to communicate to Trump what we want. Okay, so therefore I do believe that the Chinese side will not only trying to boost domestic consumption, okay, which has been already announced. Many policies have been announced in the government work report on the 5th of March. Okay, meanwhile, the Chinese side definitely will try to work with the Trump administration to try to convey Chinese side's core interests, to try to tell the Trump team that we understand your policies, we are not particularly averse to your policies. However, you have to support our core interests. Against this background, the two sides will negotiate very intensely. So instead of open exchange of rhetorics, openly criticizing each other, the two governments, U.S. government and Chinese government, actually are, and I believe will, work quietly to solve all these issues. Okay, so I am, in this regard, I am not nearly as pessimistic as many of my fellow economists and the fellow analysts about Trump 2.0 and its impact on China. I do believe that there's a room for the two sides to work out their differences. So any comments, any questions, please leave them in the comment area. Thank you.